Let me ask you something. What if I told you that the one thing you've been dreading, silence, could actually be your greatest weapon? Imagine this. You're holding the key to unlocking emotional freedom, and it starts with doing absolutely nothing. Sounds too simple, right? But here's the kicker. Most people fail at no contact because they fall into the trap of thinking silence is weakness. Well, let me blow your mind. Silence is power. In this video, we're going to rip apart the myths around no contact, flip the script on what you've been told, and hand you the blueprint to turn emotional chaos into unstoppable strength. And you're here because you've tried everything, haven't you? Late-night texts, waiting for a reply that never comes, obsessing over why they left, and now you're stuck. You're thinking, does no contact really work? Or am I just torturing myself? Here's the brutal truth. Most people fail at no contact because they focus on the wrong thing, the other person. That's where you're going wrong. This isn't about them, it's about you. And the sooner you understand that, the faster you'll stop playing games with your own sanity. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 hard-hitting truths about staying strong during no contact, and we're not holding back. I'm talking about the stuff no one wants to say, the raw truths that will wake you up and change your life. But here's the deal. You have to be willing to hear it. No sugarcoating, no fluff, just raw, unfiltered truths that will make you rethink not just your relationships, but how you see yourself. By the end of this video, you won't just survive the silence, you'll own it. Stay with me until the end. Trust me, the truth will make you rethink every choice you've made in relationships. Ready to hear it? Then hit that subscribe button right now, comment, "I'm ready," if you're ready to watch this video till the end. Now let's get started. Number 1. Understanding the challenge. The hardest part of no contact isn't the silence. It's the stories you tell yourself about that silence. You're sitting there, staring at your phone, wondering why they haven't called. You start thinking, maybe they've moved on. Maybe they never cared. Maybe I'm not good enough. Let me stop you right there. These thoughts aren't reality. They're lies your mind creates to fill the silence. Here's the truth. Humans crave closure. We'd rather have a messy, painful answer than the discomfort of not knowing. But here's the hard pill you need to swallow. Sometimes no answer is the answer. Let that sink in. Silence speaks louder than words, but only if you're willing to listen. The challenge of no contact isn't just external, it's internal. It's about quieting the noise in your own head and recognizing that your value doesn't come from someone else's attention. Think about it like this. You've been running a marathon with someone who stopped caring about the race long ago. While you're sprinting, they're on the sidelines, watching you exhaust yourself. No contact is the moment you decide to stop running and catch your breath. It's not giving up. It's giving yourself a chance to recover. And let's not sugarcoat it. It's going to hurt. Like ripping off a bandage, the pain is sharp and immediate. But what's the alternative? Staying in a cycle of hope and disappointment, clinging to breadcrumbs of attention? You deserve more than that. You deserve the whole damn loaf. Now I know what you're thinking, but what if they forget about me? Let me flip that question around. What if they don't? What if your silence forces them to see what they've lost? The truth is, people only value what they fear losing. When you stop being available at their convenience, you stop being taken for granted. That's not manipulation. That's self-respect. Every time you feel the urge to text them, ask yourself this: what am I really hoping to achieve? If the answer is anything other than your own peace of mind, don't hit send. The silence you're avoiding is the very thing that will set you free. Number 2. The power of emotional detachment. The reason no contact feels so impossible is because you've tied your happiness to their actions. If they text, you're happy. If they don't, you spiral. That's not love, it's dependency. And here's the kicker. They feel it. People can sense when you need them more than they need you, and it gives them all the power. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting off your feelings. It's about reclaiming your power. Right now, your emotions are like a puppet on a string, and they're holding the controls. Every time they ignore you, you feel worthless. Every time they reach out, you feel validated. But what if you cut the strings? What if you stopped letting their behavior dictate your worth? Here's a secret most people won't tell you. Detachment makes you irresistible. Why? Because people are drawn to those who don't need them. The moment you stop seeking their validation is the moment you become intriguing. It's human nature. We want what we can't have. But let's take it deeper. Emotional detachment isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about learning to find peace within yourself. Think of it like this. If you're standing in the middle of a storm, you have two choices. You can either fight the wind and get blown around, or you can stand still and let it pass. Detachment is standing still. It's recognizing that you can't control the storm, but you can control your reaction to it. Here's a practical step to start detaching emotionally. Create distance, not just physically, but mentally. Every time you catch yourself thinking about them, redirect that energy to something productive. Start a project, learn a skill, hit the gym. Do anything that reminds you of your own capabilities. The more you focus on yourself, the less power they have over you. Detachment isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. You'll have moments of weakness, and that's okay. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Keep showing up for yourself, even on the days when it feels impossible. Number 3. Trusting your decision. You've decided to go no contact, but now the doubts are creeping in. What if I'm making a mistake? What if they think I don't care? What if they move on? Let me stop you right there. These thoughts are fear talking, not logic. And fear has one job: to keep you stuck. The decision to go no contact isn't just a strategy, it's a statement. It says, I value my peace more than your attention. I choose myself over this cycle of hurt. And that's a choice most people are too scared to make. They'd rather stay in the comfort of dysfunction than face the discomfort of growth. But let me ask you this. What has chasing them ever gotten you? Has it made them love you more? Has it brought you peace? Or has it left you feeling drained and defeated? No contact isn't about punishing them. It's about saving yourself. It's about stepping back and giving yourself the space to heal. No contact isn't about waiting for them to come back. If that's your goal, you're missing the point. This isn't about them. It's about you. It's about breaking free from the need for their validation and learning to stand on your own 2 feet. Think of it like this. If you were building a house, would you use materials that are broken and unstable? Of course not. Relationships are no different. You can't build something healthy with someone who doesn't respect you. Trusting your decision to go no contact is about recognizing that you deserve better and refusing to settle for less. Here's an exercise for when doubt creeps in. Write down the reasons you chose no contact in the first place. Be brutally honest. Maybe they disrespected you. Maybe they didn't prioritize you. Whatever the reason, put it on paper. Then, whenever you feel tempted to break no contact, read that list. Let it remind you why you made this choice and why it's worth sticking to. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. No contact doesn't guarantee they'll come back. But it does guarantee one thing. You'll come back to yourself. You'll rediscover the parts of you that got lost in the relationship. You'll remember what it feels like to be whole, not because someone else completes you, but because you complete yourself. Trusting your decision is about playing the long game. It's about choosing growth over instant gratification. Growth is never easy, but it's always worth it. So the next time you find yourself questioning your choice, remember this: the person you're becoming is worth the discomfort of letting go. Number 4. Embracing discomfort. No one likes discomfort. It's why we cling to toxic relationships, send that desperate "Hey, how are you?" text, or stalk their social media late at night. But here's the harsh reality: growth and comfort cannot exist together. You can have one or the other, but never both. If you want to become stronger, wiser, and more self-assured, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Discomfort during no contact isn't a punishment, it's a transformation. Think of a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. It's painful, messy, and slow. But without that struggle, the butterfly's wings wouldn't develop the strength to fly. You're in that cocoon right now, and the silence. That's your transformation in progress. But here's the trap most people fall into. They think discomfort means they're doing something wrong. You start to question yourself, wondering if breaking no contact would feel better. Spoiler alert, it won't. Reaching out might give you a fleeting sense of relief, but it comes at the cost of your long-term growth. And let's face it, if they wanted to talk to you, they would have by now. Discomfort shows you where the cracks are in your foundation. Maybe you relied too heavily on their attention for your self-worth. Maybe you ignored your own needs to prioritize theirs. Whatever it is, the pain you feel isn't here to punish you. It's here to guide you. Next time you feel that unbearable urge to break no contact, sit with it. Don't distract yourself. Don't run from it. Just let it wash over you like a wave. Notice how the feeling rises, peaks, and then fades. That's the thing about discomfort. It's temporary, and every time you resist the urge to react, you're teaching yourself that you can survive without them. Think about it. Every painful moment you endure is a deposit into your self-respect bank. It's proof that you value yourself enough to face the hard stuff head-on. And let's be real, nothing worth having ever comes easy. Embrace the discomfort, because on the other side of it lies the version of you that you've always wanted to be. Number 5. Purpose over validation. Most of us spend our lives performing for people who don't even deserve to sit in the front row of our story. You know what I'm talking about. Posting that "look how happy I am" photo on Instagram, hoping they'll see it and feel a twinge of regret. But let me ask you this. Why are you living for their validation when you could be living for your purpose? Validation is like junk food. It gives you a quick hit of satisfaction, but it leaves you feeling empty and craving more. Purpose, on the other hand, is like a home-cooked meal. It takes longer to prepare, but it nourishes you in ways that last. During no contact, your purpose is your anchor. It's the thing that will keep you grounded when the silence feels overwhelming. What does living with purpose actually look like? It means asking yourself, what can I create, achieve, or improve in my life that has nothing to do with them? Maybe it's a fitness goal you've been putting off. Maybe it's finally starting that side hustle you've always dreamed about. Or maybe it's as simple as becoming the kind of person who inspires themselves. Imagine someone who spent years in a relationship where they always played second fiddle. They were constantly seeking approval, bending over backward to keep the peace. After the breakup, they went no contact and poured all that energy into building their dream business. Today, they're thriving, not because they got their ex back, but because they got themselves back. Living with purpose doesn't mean you stop caring about what happened. It means you stop letting it define you. Every moment you spend chasing validation is a moment you're not investing in your future. And here's the irony. When you start living for yourself, you become magnetic. People are drawn to those who have a sense of direction and self-worth. So here's your challenge. Take all the time and energy you've been wasting on thoughts of them and redirect it. Start small. Pick one thing you've been putting off. Maybe it's journaling, exercising, or learning a new skill. Commit to it, not because you want to prove anything to them, but because you owe it to yourself. And remember this, your purpose doesn't need anyone's approval. The only validation you should be chasing is your own. Number 6, building resilience. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, brick by brick, choice by choice. Right now, you're in the trenches of emotional warfare. No contact feels like a battle between your better judgment and your need for closure. But here's the good news. Every time you resist the urge to reach out, you're building a fortress of resilience. Let me break it down. Resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you say no to breaking no contact, you're flexing that muscle. At first, it feels impossible. You'll have moments of weakness where you stare at your phone, drafting texts you'll never send. But over time, it gets easier. The silence stops feeling like a punishment and starts feeling like peace. Create a daily ritual that reinforces your strength. Maybe it's a morning journal where you write down 3 things you're proud of. Maybe it's a workout routine that makes you feel powerful. Or maybe it's as simple as repeating an affirmation like, "I choose myself." Whatever it is, make it a habit. Habits are the foundation of resilience. Think of resilience as your armor. It doesn't make the battles disappear, but it protects you from the wounds that used to cut deep. And let's not forget, resilience isn't about never feeling pain. It's about rising every time you fall. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have moments when the silence feels unbearable, but resilience is what will carry you through. Resilience is sexy. There's nothing more attractive than someone who can weather the storms of life and come out stronger. When you build resilience, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're showing yourself and the world that you're unbreakable. The next time you feel tempted to break no contact, remember this. Every choice you make is either building your resilience or tearing it down. Choose wisely, because the person you're becoming, they're worth it. Number 7, accepting reality. The hardest truths are the ones we avoid the most. You know exactly what I mean. That gnawing feeling in your gut when you replay old conversations, wondering if you could have done something differently to save the relationship. It's a mental movie that never stops playing, and yet deep down, you know the truth. If the relationship was meant to work, it would have. No amount of overthinking will change that. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people aren't ready for the kind of connection you offered. And sometimes they simply don't value you the way you deserve to be valued. Let that sink in for a moment. It's not about blaming them or blaming yourself. It's about accepting that not every chapter of your life will have a happy ending. And that's okay, because endings aren't failures, they're transitions. Most people resist reality because it's painful. You tell yourself stories to soften the blow. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. Maybe if I just try harder, they'll come back. These maybes are the chains that keep you tied to the past. And the longer you hold on to them, the harder it becomes to move forward. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about setting yourself free. When you accept reality, you take back the power you've been giving away. You stop waiting for closure from someone who's never going to give it to you. You stop hoping for an apology that might never come. And most importantly, you stop letting someone else's actions define your worth. Think of acceptance as ripping off a bandage. It hurts like hell at first, but once it's done, you can finally start to heal. And let's be clear, healing isn't linear. You'll have days where you feel like you're moving on, and days where you feel like you're back at square one. That's normal. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even if it's just one step at a time. Write down the truths you've been avoiding. Be brutally honest. Maybe the truth is that they didn't prioritize you. Maybe the truth is that the relationship was one-sided. Whatever it is, put it on paper. Seeing it in black and white can be a powerful wake-up call. And every time you feel tempted to break no contact, read those truths aloud to yourself. Let them remind you why moving on is the only option. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about yourself more. It means you stop hoping for a future with someone who isn't meant to be in your life and start building a future that's centered around your own happiness. And here's the irony. The moment you stop chasing them is the moment you start finding yourself. Number 8. Turning pain into power. Pain is one of life's great inevitabilities. If you're human, you've felt it. The sting of rejection, the ache of loss, the hollow emptiness of being left behind. But here's the truth about pain. It's not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's here to show you where you need to grow, where you've been neglecting yourself, and where you need to make changes. Think about it. Every scar you have, whether it's physical or emotional, tells a story of survival. And right now, you're in the middle of writing one of the most important chapters of your life. The pain you feel today is shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. So the question isn't, how do I get rid of this pain? It's, how do I use this pain to grow? Here's the secret most people won't tell you. Pain is the catalyst for transformation. Think about every great success story you've ever heard. Behind every triumph, there's a struggle. Behind every victory, there's a battle. And behind every strong person, there's a moment of pain that forced them to rise above it. You're in that moment right now, and while it might feel like the end, it's actually the beginning. The beginning of a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to face the pain head-on. You can't numb it with distractions or run from it with quick fixes. You have to sit with it, learn from it, and let it guide you toward the person you're meant to become. Let me give you a practical way to turn your pain into power. Channel it into something productive. Start by asking yourself, what have I been neglecting in my life? Maybe it's your health, your career, or your personal goals. Whatever it is, use the energy of your pain to fuel your growth. Take that anger, sadness, or frustration and turn it into action. Sign up for a class, hit the gym, start a journal. Do something, anything, that reminds you of your own strength. Here's another secret. Pain has a way of revealing your true priorities. When you're in the thick of it, you start to see what really matters. You realize that the approval of one person isn't worth sacrificing your peace. You discover that your worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to see it. And you learn that the only person who can truly complete you is yourself. And let's talk about the ultimate transformation. Turning pain into purpose. This is where the magic happens. When you take your pain and use it to help others, it becomes more than just a burden. It becomes a gift. Maybe your experience inspires you to create something meaningful. Maybe it motivates you to support someone else who's going through a similar struggle. Whatever it is, turning your pain into purpose is one of the most powerful things you can do. Here's a challenge for you. Think about how your pain can make a positive impact. Maybe it's sharing your story to inspire others. Maybe it's volunteering your time to a cause you care about. Or maybe it's as simple as showing kindness to someone who needs it. Pain has a way of connecting us, and when you use it to uplift others, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing the world around you. Turning pain into power isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about using your struggles as stepping stones to become the person you've always wanted to be. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the weight of your emotions, remember this. every great story begins with a challenge. And this is yours. Number 9. Shifting focus to growth. Your focus is probably all over the place. You wake up thinking about them, you go to bed thinking about them, and every moment in between is filled with questions. What are they doing? Are they thinking about me? Have they moved on? These thoughts don't just steal your peace, they trap you in a cycle of stagnation. Every moment you spend fixated on someone else is a moment you're not investing in yourself. Think about that for a second. You're pouring all your energy into a situation you can't control while neglecting the one thing you can, your own growth. That ends today. Shifting your focus isn't just about distracting yourself, it's about redirecting your energy towards something meaningful. It's about asking yourself, what can I build, learn, or achieve that has nothing to do with them? And let me tell you, the possibilities are endless. Imagine if all the time you've spent overthinking was instead spent on self-improvement. Picture yourself signing up for that fitness class you've been avoiding, or finally starting that business idea that's been sitting on the back burner. What if you turned your heartbreak into the fuel for your next big achievement? That's the power of shifting your focus. Make a list of 3 things you've always wanted to do but kept putting off because of your relationship. Maybe it's traveling, picking up a new skill, or even something as simple as reading a book that inspires you. Commit to doing one of those things this week. Don't just think about it, take action. There was a man who, after a painful breakup, decided to pour all his energy into fitness. He started small, just a few minutes of exercise a day. But as weeks turned into months, he transformed not just his body, but his entire mindset. By focusing on his growth, he regained his confidence and discovered a strength he didn't know he had. And guess what? His ex eventually noticed, but by then he didn't care. He was too busy thriving. Shifting your focus isn't about forgetting them, it's about remembering yourself. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that got lost in the relationship and using this time to become the best version of yourself. And here's the irony. The more you focus on your own growth, the less power they have over you. Here's your challenge. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into thoughts about them, redirect that energy toward a personal goal. Think of it as a mental workout. The more you practice, the stronger your focus becomes. And before you know it, you'll realize that the person you've been obsessing over isn't the center of your world. You are. Number 10. Maintaining long-term peace. Here's the ultimate goal of no contact. Not just getting over someone, but building a life where your peace isn't dependent on anyone else. Because let's be real, what's the point of moving on if you're just going to let someone else disrupt your peace in the future? Long-term peace isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you create. Think of peace like a garden. It requires care, attention, and boundaries to thrive. And just like a garden, it's not a one-time effort. You can't plant seeds and walk away expecting flowers to bloom forever. You have to nurture it. You have to protect it from weeds, pests, and storms. And in the context of your life, those weeds are the people and situations that threaten your mental and emotional well-being. Let me ask you this. What boundaries have you set to protect your peace? If the answer is none, then it's time to change that. Long-term peace begins with learning to say no to toxic people, to unnecessary drama, and to anything that doesn't align with the life you want to build. Identify one area of your life where your peace is being compromised. Maybe it's a friend who constantly drains your energy, or a habit that keeps you stuck in the past. Whatever it is, take action to remove or address it. Your peace is non-negotiable, and anything that threatens it doesn't deserve a place in your life. But let's take it deeper. Long-term peace isn't just about avoiding negativity, it's about cultivating positivity. It's about filling your life with people, activities, and goals that uplift you. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly at peace. What were you doing? Who were you with? Use those moments as a blueprint to create more of the same. And here's the part most people overlook. Peace isn't the absence of challenges. It's the presence of resilience. Life will never be completely free of stress or difficulties, but when you've built a foundation of peace, those challenges lose their power to derail you. Instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of falling apart, you adapt. That's what long-term peace looks like. There was a woman who, after a tumultuous breakup, decided to make peace her top priority. She started meditating daily, journaling her thoughts, and spending time with people who uplifted her. Over time, she noticed a shift. The things that used to trigger her, an unexpected text from her ex, a lonely Friday night, no longer had the same grip on her emotions. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. And that's the power of prioritizing peace. Here's your takeaway. Maintaining long-term peace is a choice you make every day. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you create through your actions, habits, and mindset. And the more you prioritize your peace, the less you'll tolerate anything that disrupts it. Here's the final challenge. Write down your personal definition of peace. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And most importantly, what steps can you take to protect and nurture it? Keep that definition close to you and let it guide every decision you make. You've made it to the end of this journey, and that says something about you. It says you're not someone who's willing to stay stuck, who's okay with settling for less, or who's going to let anyone else dictate their happiness. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. One path keeps you clinging to the past, chained to the pain, and stuck in the cycle of overthinking. The other path, that's the one where you rise. That's the one where you say, "Enough, I deserve better." Every piece of advice we've shared today isn't just about surviving no contact. It's about transforming it into the greatest act of self-love you've ever experienced. Silence isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Every moment of discomfort is a step toward becoming the version of you who doesn't just endure life, but thrives in it. Let this be your reminder. You don't need anyone else's approval to feel worthy. You are enough, just as you are. You are stronger than the pain, wiser than the doubts, and braver than you give yourself credit for. The journey ahead won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. And the best part, the person waiting for you at the other side of this silence, the healed, confident, unshakable you, is someone you're going to love more than you've ever loved anyone else. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to support this channel by hitting the subscribe button. It's not just about numbers. It's about making sure more people who are struggling just like you can find this message and begin their journey to healing. When you subscribe, you're helping to spread a message of growth, resilience, and empowerment to those who need it most. And before you go, drop a comment below saying, "I choose myself." Let that be your declaration, your commitment to put your peace and growth above all else. Remember, you're not alone in this. This community is here to support you every step of the way. Together, we're building something bigger than no contact. We're building lives filled with strength, purpose, and unstoppable self-worth.